Hello, and welcome to Based on a Book, the podcast where academic angst meets page-to-screen drama. I'm Keri, the one who never reads a synopsis before selecting a book for all her friends to read.
I'm Lindsey, and I'm devastated.
I'm Crystal, and this podcast has given me trust issues.
This episode is our last title in our back-to-school theme, and when I saw this theme, I really wanted a romance set in college. So I selected My Oxford Year by Julia Whelan and its recent Netflix film that just came out a few days ago. For future listeners, that is August 2025. If you're an audiobook listener, this author may sound very familiar to you. Julia Whelan not only is a writer, but she is well known for narrating 600 audiobooks and counting. Some popular titles include Gone Girl, Educated by Tara Westover, which is an excellent book. A lot of Emily Henry, Taylor Jenkins Reid books, V.E. Schwab, and many more like Kristen Hanna. She's honestly an excellent narrator, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Even narrated her debut novel, which is the title we are discussing today, and one I did not investigate whatsoever before I made everyone suffer emotional damage. If you have not read My Oxford Year and don't know what it's about, it is the story of a young woman who sets for Oxford University to fulfill a childhood dream and meets a charming local where they end up altering each other's lives in different ways due to a life-changing secret. All right, so let's get into ratings. Book ratings. I'm scared because we have not talked about this whatsoever. All right, I'm going to start with Lindsey. Lindsey.
Okay. So, I gave this one 4.5 graduation caps.
Oh my gosh. That makes me so happy.
I really enjoyed this story. I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
Yay. That's amazing. Okay, what about you, Crystal?
I gave this one 4.5 dead poets.
I could cry.
Well, we did.
Yeah,
lot.
we did cry.
That's true.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I gave it 4 check boxes. So I gave for my check boxes are great narration. I listened on Libro FM. Check our affiliate link in the description if you want the audiobook too, because this narration is incredible.
Yes.
Julia Whelan, I will be listening to all your audiobooks. Apparently, I've already been listening to them, but
no, it was amazing.
Incredible. I personally felt like, second checkbox, I felt like it was unpredictable in the sense of romance books. Like, it did not follow a traditional romance formula, and it went its own route, and I really love that about it. My third checkbox was incredible characters, the character-driven story. I really love the characters in this book, even the side characters.
Yep.
Love them. And fourth checkbox, I was bawling like a baby.
Yep.
Bawling
You
like
said, I don't remember what episode, I know you've said it multiple times, but books that make you feel, for good or for bad, a book that makes you feel something that you love. And I thought of you all as reading this book, because although we were seriously emotionally damaged, that was a big feeling. And I remember you messaged us and you were like, I'm so sorry, you guys. I didn't look into this book. I'm dying right now. And I was like, she's loving every minute of it. I knew you were. I knew you were, because it's that good.
Mm-hmm. I was like, who picked this? I was like, oh yeah, me.
It was you.
Yeah. My bad. But it's like I just, like you said, I just love books that make me feel. Like, I love books that make me emotional and just make me go on a roller coaster ride, especially when it's unexpected.
Yeah.
Like, even though I'm like, who picked this? Who is putting me through this emotional damage right now? And I'm like, but this is amazing. I'm loving every second of it.
Yep.
So, all right. So we're going to get into spoilers So at this point in the episode, we're going to move forward with lots of spoilers by breaking down the entire book adaptation. So if you have not read the book or watched the movie, do that before you join us further into the episode, or tag along if you don't mind knowing what's going to happen next. But please take care of yourself and check content warnings on this one. Storygraph is an excellent resource for it, as we will be discussing some difficult topics. We will have the Storygraph link in our description. So let's start with the setup of the book. The book starts with Ella from Ohio arriving in Oxford to pursue a master's in English. This has been a lifelong dream of hers. And when we start the story, we see her kind of being hesitant going to Oxford because she's getting pulled back to America by another job, which
In
is
politics.
in politics. Working in a campaign for, I believe it's a senator who's running for office. But yeah, she works in American politics, but she makes a deal where she's like, I can totally do this job with you and, work in this campaign, but still stay in Oxford. I could do both at once. But we know that there is a deadline for her stay in Oxford right off the bat. And we're also getting like a good picture of Ella as we start, who's very passionate about academics, passionate about politics. She has her path aligned and she is just like, go forward. She's ready. She knows exactly what she wants.
She's a planner.
Yes.
Like, she is a planner. She has everything lined up and ready to go.
Yeah. The movie is kind of similar in the ideas, but different. Keep in mind, this was actually adapted by the novel by Julia Whelan, which was adapted from the original screenplay. So the the screenwriter originally came up with the screenplay, asked Julia for help, which Julia eventually published as a novel instead. But then the screenplay writer returned to it and also made it into a Netflix movie. So Julia even says the book could be considered the movie's adaptation. So the differences are there because it's almost like two different interpretations of the same original work written by two different people. One person made it for a movie, one person made it for a book.
Can I say, the movie starts out in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And my son has been known to change the default language on our devices now and then without me noticing. And so I was like, oh crap, I loaded the Spanish version. And so like I exited out. I'm trying to find the setting because I don't ever remember where it's buried. I find the setting. I see that it's still in English. I was like, did it just load the wrong one? Confuse the daylights out of me, because not only is this start in Spanish, but the character name is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I screwed up.
Yeah.
And I need Netflix to apologize to me for that. Like, again, trust issues, folks.
Yeah.
Not okay.
Yeah, I think from my understanding, based on like some interviews I've seen, is that they changed the name to align, because I think that the actress Sofia Carson wanted it to align with her personal background. So that's why they changed the
Seems
name.
reasonable.
Also changed her backstory as well a little bit, because in the movie, like you said, we have a different character named Ana de la Vega, who also is played by Sofia Carson, who also plays in a lot of popular romance book adaptations. Mm-hmm. She is also here to pursue a master's in English at Oxford from America. But like I said, her backstory is a little different. She has a different relationship with her family that we see in the book. Like in the book, relationship is a lot more strained. She also has lost her father in the book. In the movie, it's very much not really existent, and she has a good relationship with her mother. In the movie, it takes out the entire storyline of her having to juggle this campaign while also being at Oxford. Um,
Which I really loved the subplot of the
mhm,
campaign because it focused a lot on feminism, it focused a lot on equality, it focused a lot on education. Like this was a significant subplot,
yeah.
and I don't feel like they changed it. She had in the movie, Anna has plans a job lined up at Goldman Sachs to be a financial analyst of some kind. And she mentions it. The job is waiting for her. Her plan is to finish at Oxford and then go take the job.
Mhm.
But that's kind of it. We don't see how it aligns with her personal values. We don't see how like her passion for the work that she does. And I kind of missed that a lot. And I mean, I understand that again, they have to cut stuff to fit a movie, but I feel like that was such a key part of her character that it really kind of fell flat for me in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, like, there's still a deadline there of her stay
Mhm.
in
Right.
Oxford, but like you said, this entire extra storyline of her this, like, subplot of the campaign being not in the movie, also it's so related to her personality in the book where, like, when she's, like, late to things or, like, when she can't be at orientation due to this other job that she's juggling, due to this other job. It's not due to her personality.
Right.
But in the movie, when she's, like, running late to something, it's because of her personality of her just, like, running
Right.
late. And I was, like, kind of frustrated by that. I'm like, "But that's not how she is." She's very, like, on top of things. She's very planned
Right.
and knows she's not just running late and not showing up to orientation because of her, like, quirkiness or
Right.
something.
And like her friends try to drag her out to a pub because she hasn't
Mhm.
seen any of Oxford. She hasn't gone out. And it's not because she's been locked up in her room feeling sorry for herself. It's because she's been working on this other campaign, this other job.
Yeah.
And in the movie, they kind of make it look like she's just hanging out in her room by herself, you know, I guess feeling lonely. I don't know. It
Mhm.
wasn't, it wasn't like the character name changed and the character personality really changed.
Yeah, for sure. But eventually she does meet the love interest. So Ella/Anna has a bad confrontation with someone who she calls the Posh Prat during her adventures of exploring the area and eventually finds out the Posh Prat is her professor, Jamie Davenport, played by Corey Mylchreest, who you may know as King George in Queen Charlotte, Bridgerton show. That honestly was the main reason why I picked this title.
I get it. I
That's
get
fair.
it. Yep.
I watched that and I just loved that show so much because his chemistry
Yep.
like was so good and it was so romantic and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be it. Like I got to watch this." And then after watching this,
I'm
not so
saying
much in my opinion. So they soon develop so they had like a bad confrontation. Then she finds out that's her professor. They soon develop this like dislike flirty banter with each other because of their original encounter. But he apologizes and then they're kind of just like, like I said, flirty banter. But she is eventually warned of his reputation. He's got a reputation. He's got like a 3-date rule. He even, he's basically known as like a fuck boy kind of.
he's a
Uh,
womanizer.
yeah, he's a womanizer and he's all of her friends that she eventually gets some friends at Oxford that are also I think live in the same building as her or
I think
something.
a couple of them do.
Yeah.
Was it Charlie? Was his name
Yeah.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah,
Charlie.
he was her neighbor.
Yeah. They warn her away from him due to his reputation, and he's also always has like this woman around named Cecilia and she's just kind of like standoffish about her.
In that first lecture too, you learn that she's from New York in the movie,
Mhm.
where she's from Ohio in the book. And I kind of really missed the Ella from Ohio.
Yeah, I loved that
Mm-hmm.
because it felt to me, she was so much more relatable to me in the book. Like this Midwest girl who comes from very humble beginnings, who worked really hard to get where she is, had to overcome some trauma with her father dying, like has a strained relationship with her mom, but like really applied herself and worked hard and earned this, and now is also making sure to fight to reach back for people like her by doing this political work. And I don't know, like she was I identified with her, but I also like wanted to root for her. And Anna de la Vega just didn't, I don't know, there wasn't anything back there for me to like identify with, like from New York and wants to work in finance.
Yeah, I will say that in the book you get just like a lot more of her characterization and just like who she is as a person. I think that the movie is lacking that significantly. The forefront of the movie is not these people individually, it's this couple, and it's giving rom-commy. It's even though the content gets kind of dark, we are giving rom-com. Even if you listen to the background, the soundtrack, it is
Yes.
very upbeat. And I was
Yep.
like, honestly, like a soundtrack is everything to me. And hearing these songs associated throughout the background, like, it was giving Hallmark. I'm sorry, but it was, like, giving a
It
Hallmark
really
movie,
was.
and I was, like, considering how sad that this story gets and how dark the content gets,
Hmm.
I couldn't believe we were being so, like, uppity about it
Yeah.
throughout the story, and it was giving rom-com.
Mm-hmm. And
And, I mean
you mentioned Ella's personality in the book and it not aligning with the movie when she first arrives at Oxford, and I think his name is Hugh, and she's
Mhm,
interacting with
Hmm.
Hugh, and he's so grumpy, but she's still so like bubbly and personable. I really missed that in the movie.
mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Seeing that like Midwestern wholesome side of her versus some of the like grumpy British standoffish personalities in the book.
Mhm,
It was really sweet, you know.
mhm.
I don't know, I
Yeah.
just feel like for a book that was so character driven, we lost a lot of the characters in the movie. The movie was definitely more plot driven, but kind of bumbled the plot,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. I would have to agree. Do you agree, Lindsay, with that?
Mhm.
Yeah. So then after this point, even though she's warned away from him, we get the start of kind of like a friends with benefits situation. So early in the book, they have a night where she's going home because some guy is basically like a dick to her at the bar. She leaves early. Jamie sees her and like he's like, "Hey, let me show you to this dive bar," and they have a good night. Eventually actually sleeping together that night. And which is actually was pretty shocking to me. I was actually very surprised. I thought we were going to have like a little slow burn situation. I'm like, "Oh, they just had a little one night stand." I can't. This is also Fade to Black if anyone is wondering about spice levels in this book. This is Fade to Black. No spice in the book.
Mm-mm.
Even but as someone who loves spicy, you don't need it. You
No,
don't
this
need
was
this at all.
romantic.
Yeah, this was romantic. You don't need any spice in this book. They're both very chill the next day. Next day, slept together, ready to start like maybe we'll hook up again, maybe we won't. She does have like a little twinge of like, oh, a little bit of disappointment. But she's like, you know what? Let's keep it pushing. Eventually, though, the hookups become more frequent, eventually turning into friends with benefits until it's not. One day, they start going on dates and it's kind of just like, what are we? Like, we're
Hmm.
not serious, but we're kind of messing around, we're kind of dating kind of situation. In the movie, during this part, we do not get an original hookup. She's actually like wants him to come upstairs and he denies her, which I was like, oh,
Right?
dang. And honestly, at this point, in my opinion, chemistry between the two characters, chemistry, I mean, that is the main point, right? When we're talking romance movie, chemistry has to be on point in
Mm-hmm.
these movies. My opinion, chemistry is lacking severely.
Yeah.
And I
I
know this guy's got chemistry. I just seen him in Queen
right.
Charlotte with the
Right.
ultimate chemistry.
Yeah. No.
And like this is an angsty storyline. The angst is there.
I think like even in the book, because we had like he's British, she's Midwest American, and so there were some like not able to read each other well at kind of
Mhm.
at the beginning. I think in the movie they were trying to kind of go for that a little bit, that maybe they weren't seeing each other's signals,
Mhm.
but I didn't I that's what I told myself, at least, because I really agree with you that there wasn't quite that I don't know, that spark,
Yeah. Where
that
like
like
you're like
ooh
swooning. I'm not
yeah.
swooning. I want to swoon.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like my heart is like melting for this couple and I just
I
wasn't
want to
feeling it.
giggle. Yeah, I want to giggle and kick my feet,
Yeah.
and I wasn't there.
Yeah. So, and it also gets a little more dramatic in the movie, where she makes him jealous the next day, which was honestly, in my opinion, kind of funny. I like that part. And then whenever they're like at that like
Mm-hmm.
Halloween part, nightmare when she dresses up in costume for this like event and nobody else is like dressed up.
Yeah.
Done.
Mm-mm.
Also as Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Where do you find a Wonder Woman
Yeah,
costume
that was weird.
The
at
internet.
Oxford?
The
I mean, you
internet.
had to.
Yeah. She was to the nines too, and like no one else was dressed up. And they're like dancing. I wanted to die because they were like dancing awkwardly, like, and he's dancing with someone else. I think it was with
Cecilia.
Cecilia, and it was
Yeah.
so funny in the movie. Like it's like Cecilia was like around every single corner, like a
Mm-hmm.
stalker. Like
Mm-hmm.
the second you turn around, she's just standing there at the door, like watching you. But at this point, so like I said, more dramatic, makes him jealous. Then they turn into like this eventually like a love affair in the movie where we get like a montage of their like hookups kind of thing, kind of still the friends with benefits type situation, still not exactly knowing what their relationship is.
Mm-hmm.
But then this relationship takes a pretty big turn with a big freaking twist. Okay. Which I'm literally, and the whole time I'm trying to predict what's going to happen with this twist.
Wasn't this?
And it was not this, in my opinion. What about you, Crystal? What did you think?
I had an inkling,
Mm
like I didn't quite figure out exactly what the twist was, but like in the book and in the movie, like things are getting really good
hmm. Mm
with
hmm.
them, and they're kind of on that verge of like, is this actually, are we boyfriend
Yeah.
girlfriend?
What's the
Or
conflict?
and then he's just kind of like, hey, like we've been real hot and heavy and I'm enjoying every minute, but I've definitely been getting behind on some things, so do you
Mm
think we
hmm.
can kind of slow down for a week or so? And in my head I went, there's something to this.
Yeah. In
There's
the,
something to this. And
yeah.
I thought I was close. Yeah.
Yeah. In the book, so Jamie reveals that his brother has blood cancer. And you can tell he does not have a good relationship with his parents. He requests to take, like you said, month off from the relationship or whatever this thing that they have to focus on school and take care of his brother. She finds out that he is lying about where he is in the book, like where he is, has been, studying and all this stuff. Um, which this part in the book, I freaking love this part in the book. This was like peak cinema, and the fact that it's not in the movie is crazy to me. Like this literally was made for film, where she's like talking to him on the phone and he's telling her location and he's like, "Yeah, I'm at this part in the library." And then he's like trying to like talk dirty to her or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
"I'm at this part of the library. This is what I'm wearing, blah blah." And she's like going to surprise him at the spot in the library. And she's like going to where he's staying, and she looks there and he's nowhere to be found and not at that location. Like, you can just feel your heart just sinking to your
Yep.
stomach.
Yep.
It makes you sick.
I did know that part. I did know he wasn't going to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That part was pretty easy to call, but like she's a terrible liar. So that was really
Mm-hmm.
funny too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's also some kind of misunderstanding like, you just feel everything, there's like a climax happening here. Like, everything, there's a misunderstanding, and like everything's kind of escalating when it's coming. There's a reveal happening where one of his friends actually says that his brother is dead. So she shows up at his apartment, walks right in because she's like, I need to know what the heck is going on, and finds him with a nurse in the middle of chemo treatments. And it's revealed that his brother did die a while ago, and Jamie has the same illness that his brother did, and he is currently fighting it.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This entire reaction or interaction between Jamie and Ella in the book
Yes.
had me so heartbroken.
Yep.
There's anger, there's sadness, there's terrible words thrown at him and terrible words that he throws at her. Like, there's just like, but also like, let me explain, but also get out of my face. I'm so mad at you.
Yep.
For like,
This was
it just
th-
felt real. It felt so
it
real.
was so raw and
Yes.
just genuine, like all the emotions, like there was love, even though they haven't said that they love each other. You could tell that that was happening, that there was grief and there was anger and there was sadness and there was concern, and it was just all at once. Yeah, it was a big one. I cried.
Yeah. It was
This is when I
just,
started crying in the book.
yeah. And it was just like, I don't know. I can't explain it. Like you said, it was raw. Like, it was just,
And in the movie,
yeah. So, movie, there's no misunderstanding about the brother. We know immediately that the brother has died, and he reveals that when his brother has died, and she finds out that he's not at somewhere that he was supposed to be, still shows up at his apartment and sees him having chemo treatments, but
she
him
just leaves and
explaining,
that's it.
him explaining everything that happened, or everything that's been happening with him, it doesn't really escalate
No.
like it does in the book. And it feels, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it doesn't feel as significant.
It's definitely not as heavy.
Yeah, it's not as
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, because she shows up at his place and she's coming up the stairs because she knows the code to get into the door. She's going up the stairs and Cecilia's coming out of his bedroom. And she's like, oh, you must be exhausted. Let me get you some coffee. Before she's even seen Jamie. So she's like, excuse me, what's going on? So yeah, she barges in and Jamie's in bed and he's getting his chemo. And he just screams at her to get out.
And she does.
And
She
she
leaves.
does.
Yeah.
He doesn't chase after her. He doesn't, like, she leaves. She gets on her bike and goes home. And then I guess it's supposed to be like the next day or something. And
Mhm.
they're walking together and he is calmly telling her
Yeah.
what's going on and what's happened and who Cecilia is in relation to him. And she's just like, oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay. It's very plain.
Yeah. She finds Cecilia's the fiance of the brother that had died. But so she's going through it at this point. In the book, she goes through an emotional roller coaster dealing with this revelation because she has serious feelings for this guy. She also knows that there's like a deadline for her to stay here. And
Mhm.
she's like kind of going through this thing where because he also reveals that like it was supposed to only be like one time with her. Like, it was supposed to be like his last like hurrah basically
Mhm.
before everything happens with like his illness takes over.
Right.
And she is dealing with that internally, and the fact that this relationship extended beyond that, and she also is dealing with the fact that she did lose her dad, and she knows loss and is very, she knows loss intimately, and the fact that she might have to deal with this again and she doesn't want to go through this again. She's just going through an emotional roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
And
All while working full time
all while
and
working
going to school full time.
yes. Yeah. And I love that this quote, her mom quotes poetry at her because, I mean, she's going to school and she's in poetry class and stuff, and she gets mad at her mom for quoting poetry at her. But she quotes poetry at her saying, "'Tis better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all." And that's like her switch.
It was Tennyson.
Yes, that was her switch to where she returns to Jamie and she's ready to be by his side until she has to go back to America for her job. She's like, I'm going to stick with you until I have to leave. In the movie, she's immediately like, yeah, we're going to be together through this. There's really no thought process happening. She's just like, yeah, I'm just going to stay beside you while you're doing all your stuff, all your treatments. Something that is not shown in the movie, and the movie, I believe, is severely lacking, is Jamie's illness.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed by this to the point that this makes me really not like this movie.
Well,
personally.
because in the book, what, like, they have to make accommodations for his treatment. His treatment makes him sick. She's trying to be with him and, again, still going to school, still working. But, like, they've learned to get, like, she talks about they've learned to get comfortable together in the bathroom, like how to sleep in the bathroom. And, she's how to, the good days and the bad days, and when she can touch him and when she can't touch him, and looking for the visual cues to what kind of day he might be having or where he's at right now. Like, it's a whole section in the book of how this changes what her experience at Oxford. This is part of her experience, and she talks about how I wanted this experience, this life-changing experience, and this is a part of it.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, it's like including like everything that what they go through as a couple related to this illness. It's just non-existent in this movie, and it's extremely present in the book. Even what they deal with regarding Jamie's parents. Jamie's parents is much more present in the book versus the movie. They become more present later, but they are a very big conflict in Jamie's life because they are very passionate about Jamie getting treatment and trying different treatments. And Jamie knows that these treatments will put him, through the ringer. And he wants to have this time, being healthy, somewhat
Enjoying
healthy and
his
present
life.
and
Yeah.
enjoying his life. And he has seen his brother go through these types of treatments and doesn't want to do that. And that's a continuous conflict, especially between him and his dad. And his dad blames Ella for Jamie not getting these treatments because he thinks that Jamie's not getting these treatments because he wants to be present with Ella while she's here. And his dad wants Ella to be on his side to push him towards these treatments. And that's like a continuous conflict for the rest of the novel. And the fact that it's very not very touched on in the movie makes me kind of sad because I really, and by the way, the dad, did you see who the dad is? Dougray Scott, the guy who from Ever After. I literally was like, my mom and I were watching this. We're like, who is that? Who is that? Who is that? We're like, that's the guy from Ever After.
That's one of my favorite movies.
I know, mine too. I was like, oh my gosh, I almost didn't recognize him. Anyways.
I feel like they did him dirty in this movie, though, because, like, the father, like, the character, his lines, they just didn't make any sense because we didn't know the relationship. You know what I mean? Again, this character in the book was developed, basically. It was a fully fledged character. We saw all sides of them. And the movie was such a one-dimensional character that, I don't know, it was just really sad.
Yeah. Yeah, we only really start getting to, like, touching on, like, some emotional content, somewhat, like, dark content when there's, like, the ball and
Mm-hmm.
during the birthday in the
Mhm.
movie, where she's trying to mend his parents' relationship with him in the movie. And that I just think that the movie they're trying to do this rom-com-y twist on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the illness is barely present in this movie until the very end for an emotional factor, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. But eventually, like we said before, there is a deadline to, Ella and us stay here with the job situation. You know, both in the book and in the movie. In the book, she's worked hard in this campaign and was successful in it, eventually getting her hired full time at this job. On the movie, she's already had the job lined up, and at this point, she's like, "Yeah, I'm not doing it," because she wants to stay and be with Jamie.
And again, in the book, her deciding to stay was so big and
Mhm.
so huge because this was her giving up a part of who she was. And not even that it was her giving it up, that it was her realizing who she was has changed.
Mhm.
Who she was is not who she is, or who she wants to be anymore. And we don't see that in the movie at all. She's just like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And her mom is kind of like, what are you talking about? This was always your plan. And she's always just like, well, my plans changed. And her mom's like, well, I support you no matter what.
Mhm.
But in the book, this was a huge deal. This was
Also,
giant.
much later. Much later. This is when
Much
like
later.
a lot of bad things had happened at this point, and
Right.
she was like, "I have to stay."
Hmm.
But she also had like revelations about herself where she was like, when she had gotten the job, she didn't even really tell anybody, and she realized, I'm not even excited about this. Like, I don't want to leave.
She realized that what she thought was her dream may have actually been her father's, and that was her way of keeping her father alive, was carrying on his dream.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. So at this point, the worst happens, and you're kind of waiting for the worst to happen in this book.
Because this is an incurable cancer.
Hmm.
We all know that. He makes a point to reiterate that multiple times.
Yes.
And so through the whole rest of the book, you're just on edge knowing that it could happen any moment.
Yeah.
And I'm still in denial
Yeah.
I'm
the whole
sorry.
time.
So Jamie's health rapidly declines when she wakes up one day to him just not waking up, eventually finding out that he has pneumonia and his immune system is struggling to fight it. At this point in the book, Jamie's dad has a better relationship with her and with Jamie because he's taking his health in a different direction. And I actually do love this part in the book where she just has this moment with his dad where he's like finally being like, okay, what do we do to Ella? Because he trusts her to make these decisions because he knows that she knows him and what he would want best. And, she also says, like, I don't care, like, what you say. The second he gets healthy, for like literally a second, we're going on our trip that we've always wanted. And I don't care what you have to say about it. And he's just like, all right, I'll shut up. And like at this point, that's when she quits her job in the book. Very similar in the movie, but we have an even, in my opinion, more emotional epilogue. And I didn't even like this movie, but I'm so pissed that it made me cry like this.
Oh, this part, yeah.
I'm so pissed.
But again, this is just like Time Traveler's Wife. I didn't cry for the movie.
Yeah.
I cried because of the characters I love from the book.
Yeah. Also, I was, like, kinda getting emotional when Kaleidoscope by Chaperone was playing
Yeah.
whenever they were together that last time before he got really sick. That really got me. That freaking got me. But this epilogue in the book, I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of up for interpretation. It's very, like, happy for now.
Mm.
Like, this is when I remember him the happiest, like, jumping through the waterfall. Like, he got better when he had pneumonia. We had our moment that we could hurry up and go on our trip when he got healthy. And she's like, "This is when I'm gonna remember him the happy," or, "This is when I did remember him the happiest."
Mhm.
It's very past tense.
Mhm.
It's very vague,
Mhm.
but also he's there in the moment in the scene. So it's either like dying soon or he
Right.
had died
And she's remembering. We
and
can't.
she's
Yeah.
remembering. We can't tell. But it's very like happy for now, not necessarily, we don't really know exactly what their ending is. But that's how it ends in the epilogue. In the movie, we're watching the damn montage of all the things that could have been of them traveling. She's like laying in bed with him in the hospital, talking about all the things that they're going to be doing. And it's like pictures of them doing all these things at these different locations. And then what actually happened of her traveling and being at those locations by herself. Gutted me.
Gutted. Dead.
I was distraught. I was like, that was messed up. That was messed up. And I was like, you know what I was thinking the whole time? Because like I said, illness not very present in the movie. I was like, they're just gonna randomly off this guy out of nowhere.
I was kind of afraid of that myself.
Like they're just gonna literally do
Because
that.
we see his health deteriorate in the book.
Yeah, like
And
we're
then he
waiting for this to happen. We're scared.
goes through that one more experimental treatment that like not experimental but like test,
Yeah. It like brings your hopes up a little bit
and they
in
say
the
that they
book.
can buy him some more time.
Mhm.
And so and then he gets pneumonia and we think, oh crap, but then the doctor is like, hey, we think the treatment worked because we're not seeing the cancer cells, but the pneumonia is still pretty bad. If he can pull through the pneumonia, we might have, so like, but you still know that this is not ever, he's never going to get better. We see him getting sicker and sicker.
Yeah.
And in the movie, he's just like, yeah, I'm sick. Let's go to the ball. Like, what?
Yeah. And like there's no like appetite changing
Yeah.
or anything like
Or
that like we
him,
see in the book.
having to leave things early or quickly or having
Being
an exit
exhausted.
strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I that was crazy to me. But I think we can tell what our final verdict is, in my opinion. I'm gonna have to say it's the book. Well, this is one of those times where I'm gonna say, if you watch the movie and did not read the book, read the book. Like
Absolutely.
it is 100% worth reading the book. If
Absolutely.
you have not done either, don't waste your time with the movie. Just read the book.
Accurate.
Just read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Totally fair.
Yeah. Like the movie probably isn't bad if you just like a Hallmarky movie, like a
It
Hallmark romance movie maybe.
I even thought that, like, oh, it's set in Britain. I love British stuff. And it doesn't even hit for that really, because it is so much like what I feel like it is done the way they think Americans think of Britain. I don't know. It just didn't even hit the mark as a British
Mhm.
movie for me.
I think I saw some people getting upset of how like its take on Oxford.
Yeah. Even that was like,
Yeah. I
what?
think I saw some people saying stuff about that, but I mean, I don't really care about that stuff personally, but Some people might.
I was trying to find some redeeming qualities in this movie, and they're just not there for me at all. I
Yeah.
feel kind of bad about it. I try to always at least find one good thing to say, and I don't think I
Yeah.
have
I
anything good
get
to
so
say.
sad because I
The
want a
soundtrack
good.
wasn't bad. It didn't match the story,
Yeah.
but the music was enjoyable.
Yeah. There was like some moments where they made me laugh. The side characters were pretty funny in it.
Yes. Yes.
But other than that, I can't imagine myself rewatching it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. No thanks. But anyways, let's get to our question of the episode. This may be a hot take, but can a romance book still be satisfying to you personally without a happily ever after? Can a bittersweet ending still feel like a good ending in a romance book? Crystal, I'll start with you.
I think this was a happy ending. Like, here's the deal. I think, to me, the takeaway from this story was how privileged you are if you ever get to experience love, and how beautiful love is, and how beautiful life can be when you live it. And that is what we see Ella and Jamie do. They embrace the love of each other, they embrace living their lives. And even though ultimately Jamie's life ends, or at least we know it does, what was there was so beautiful and so wonderful, and they had the privilege to enjoy it with each other. And to me, that is a happy ending.
Yeah, true.
I wish I could have a love like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even for just 6 months a year, I'll, like, if I could have something that beautiful, I mean, tear up talking about it. That is just, it's just beautiful. Why would we call that a bad ending?
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Lindsay?
Yeah. To reference our idea of you episode, I definitely think that you have to have a little bad with the good. And if it's gonna make me feel something, then I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like like you said, we talked about this in Idea View because, that doesn't necessarily have a traditional romance ending, happily ever after, but we think it's still like, that's a romance story, that's a romance book. And that's, unfortunately that's a very big hot button topic in the romance book community, whether that's considered a romance story. But I think like some of my favorite romance books are ones that don't have a traditional ending, like a
Hmm.
traditional happily ever after, because they're the ones that I can't stop thinking about. Like, I can't stop thinking about this, like something that's not necessarily extremely satisfying, like it's not, to me, this is not, it's not satisfying. We're like, okay, these people just live like happily ever after forever. Like these people, like, there was stuff like they had amazing moments and then they also suffered, unfortunately. And like I feel so much for them because of that,
Hmm.
you know?
I mean,
And
Idea of You, Time Traveler's Wife, now this one, like, there's something about these endings that leave me always thinking about it. Like, these are the ones that I remember. These are the ones that I hold tight, you know?
yeah, for sure. I'm so happy we all love this one. Oh,
The
the
book.
book. Okay, so that's a wrap on today's episode in August back to school theme. Thanks for listening and be sure to follow, rate, and leave us a review. It helps more lovely listeners like you find us. If you have any thoughts on My Oxford Year or any other titles we've covered on the podcast, connect with us on our socials, linked in the description. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how you enjoyed this adaptation or did not enjoy it. Also, if you're an audiobook listener like us and have yet to make the switch to Libro FM, check out our link in the description to sign up today and support your local bookstore. Until next time, remember life rarely goes as planned, but sometimes it turns out even better. See you in the next chapter of Based on a Book. Bye.
Bye.